One of the places we visited was an incineration plant. It was in the middle of the community next to a public pool and didn't seem like the landfills we have in America. It was clean and there were a lot of plants on the walls of the building and trees outside of the plant. There are over 20 incineration plants in the Tokyo area. 550 blue trucks pick up trash and drop it off each day at the plant. The trash is loaded into a giant trash room where two cranes are mixing and moving the garbage 24/7. The amount of trash burned in one day is the amount of trash accepted each day. One grab from the giant claw is equivalent to 2 tons of trash or 2 blue truckfuls of trash. This room is pressurized so the air will not leave and the smell is contained. This is important because the plant is surrounded by a community of people. The claw moves the trash to the incinerator where it is burned. The heat created is controlled by water and air. The steam created is used to generate electricity by a turbine. The heated water is also sent to the community pool next door to cool, and then it comes back in a closed loop. The stack does not look like there's anything coming out of it. This is because they try for zero emissions because there is a community surrounding them. The stack is over 400 feet tall and is about 9 meters across. The tallest stack in the Tokyo area is 210 meters high because it is surrounded by tall buildings. There's always somebody working in the plant in case of emergencies. The plant makes $9 million each year by selling the electricity, and it uses all the electricity that it creates itself. This $9 million, though, is only 1/9 of the total cost of running the plant. Overall, I was very impressed with the plant. They're very open with the community, and the community seemed to accept them back. Watching the claw was very entertaining, and I was very surprised that they created their own energy. We also went to the Disaster Prevention Center. We got to experience putting out a fire with a real extinguisher. Honestly, I've never used one before, and it seemed like something I really should have known how to do. The first step is to yell fire, then pull the pin straight up, aim, and spray. It was pretty simple and it was really fun to try. We also got to go through a fire smoke simulation. It was very dark and you had to cover your mouth with a cloth and stay low. They even had an alert system that would go off if you got too high. The most surprising thing about this was how dark the smoke was. Next, we did an earthquake simulation, which was the most shocking to me. No one on the trip had experienced an earthquake before, so I think most of us were pretty surprised by the severity of the shaking. Watching it happen is so much different than actually feeling it in real life. I would imagine that it is so scary to be surrounded by real things and have to go through something like this. We only had a table and we knew we would be safe, and it was still a scary experience, so I can't even imagine how bad it would be in real life. We also only had to endure it for about 40 seconds, whereas the real earthquake 2011 lasted well over 2 minutes long. It really put into perspective how bad earthquakes can be. We also visited Kumamoto Castle that had extensive damage by an earthquake about 3 years ago. You can see that part of the building is only being held up by a couple of rocks. It's currently under construction. It was the home for Kato Kiyomasa, a famous daimyo from Kumamoto, and it is very important to the area because it is a historical piece, and this is why they keep restoring the castle. We also visited the Red Cross Ishinomaki Hospital. They are located near the most damaged parts from the tsunami and the earthquake of 2011. They told us about how it changed into a triage area for victims of the natural disaster. There were red, yellow, and green areas designated by severity of illness. The hospital itself was not impacted greatly because the tsunami did not reach it, and it has earthquake-resistant base. They went into a disaster management level 3, which is the highest level that you can get. There were not many people immediately after the disaster because there wasn't a way to get there. Their cars and the roads were destroyed. When people did come, there were many with a severe hypothermia. The hospital momentarily acted as an evacuation center because no one had homes to go back to. I really enjoyed visiting the hospital. I feel like this was one of the more medical sides to public health and how they tried to help after the disaster. Finally, we visited the Okawa Elementary School. This was one of the most devastating things we did on the trip. A father of a daughter that passed away in the tsunami spoke to us about the incident. He told us how they waited in the yard and how they didn't have a plan of action against the tsunami. They realized they were in trouble too late and ran towards the bridge. They couldn't move quickly because the school was surrounded by fencing. He told us how the tsunami came out of the river and surrounded them in both directions, creating a whirlpool where the school was. He told us how all the other buildings were destroyed around it. When you looked around, you could see how flat and empty everything was except for the standing school. He told us how there were over 100 students at the school and about 10 teachers, and only 5 people in total survived. It seemed like a set of a movie, like it shouldn't really be real, but you could feel the realness and sadness in the air. He left us in saying that Okawa Elementary should be a place to think about the future, and that's what I think I will do. I hope in the future people will learn from events like this and more people will be prepared and have a plan of action for disasters. I hope we can take what happened here and learn from it all over the world. I can't believe that the father who was telling this story seemed as calm as he was. Finally, seeing healthy, alive high school children clean a place where elementary school children died that would be about their age now, and also seeing how much beauty in nature and flowers growing in a place where there was so much devastation and death happening was hauntingly juxtaposed and beautiful. It was very eerie to hear the story on the land where it happened, to be able to see all of the remnants of the school that these children went to.